Tell you that the way we build this content or the way we build our broadcast is through questions, concerns directly from the community. So if you continue to have concerns, it is really, really imperative that you continue to share those concerns with us here at the Hub, but more importantly, to share those concerns with immigrant-led organizations such as KPASA Sioux Falls and also South Dakota Voices for Peace. So in today's episode, we're going to go over 3 different topics here with you. The first one is the common do's and don'ts. Second one is power of attorney information for child care and also financial assets. And then third, we're going to talk about what happens when or if you or someone you know is detained by ICE in South Dakota. Let's hop right into it. So the common do's and don'ts. This is going to be quite a bit of information that we give you here tonight on the common do's and don'ts. Some of this information you've heard, some of it you may not have heard before. But I used to have a teacher that would tell me all the time, if you see something in bold, if you see something highlighted, or if you hear me repeat something, that means that it's absolutely critical for you to remember. And so we will reiterate some of this information to you because we believe it's absolutely critical for you to remember this information and have the knowledge behind you. So the first thing that we're going to do, and again, this is based on the questions, the calls, and conversations that we've had directly with some of the immigrant communities. First thing we're going to cover is what do you do as far as checking the box that says U.S. citizen. Again, it's really important that you remember, if you are not a U.S. citizen, do not check the box that says that you are. That's falsifying information, and it is considered a felony, and it is a deportable crime. You will be deported if you falsify that type of document. Second, do not have anyone else fill out any forms for you or on your behalf. So oftentimes, the folks in the community and immigrant communities might not be able to read the form because of the language that the form is presented in. It is certainly okay for you to have someone interpret that form for you, but we ask that you fill that form out yourself. Oftentimes we receive calls from a friend who did not fill out the form and they've had someone do it on their behalf, and then they accidentally check the U.S. citizen box. There's absolutely no defense for accidentally checking the U.S. citizen box. So it's really in your best interest to make sure that you are doing it yourself and just have the friend translate that information for you. This is the only way to make sure that you're filling out the form correctly, is if you do it yourself. This is so critical right now because employers are getting notices from the IRS from ICE to do I-9 checks. And so I-9 inspections or I-9 checks is what ICE can request from your employer to see who's a valid citizen, who's not a valid citizen, who's working at those places of employment, and also maybe who has previously been working at that place of employment, so that they have an accurate record documentation or recorded documentation. If your form is sent by your employer directly to ICE, make sure, number one, again, you're marking U.S. citizen. And then if you're not marking U.S. citizen, it's also important to know that ICE may detain you for deportation. So that's the first kind of, that's maybe check mark A on that one. Check mark B, or subsection B on that we want you to know, is that also local firearm shops, in addition to local employers, but local firearm shops can conduct federal background checks. And so you can only be a U.S. citizen to lawfully purchase a gun in South Dakota. So if you go and you are trying to purchase a gun and you fill out the information for the background check, if you fill out anything on that background check incorrectly and it comes back that you are maybe saying that you're a lawful citizen and you're not, that is also considered a federal crime and a felony, and it is also a deportable charge. So make sure we are filling all of those informations out accurately, correctly, and be sure that if you need someone to interpret the information for you, that you are bringing them along with you. We are seeing an increase of federal guns and background check charges dating back actually to several years ago. And ICE is also going back several years to keep their records updated too. So let's make sure from this point forward that we're moving in the right direction and we're filling things out accurately and completely. All right, moving on. Do not carry a copy of your lawful status documents with you. Do carry. Let me reiterate. I will back up to make sure we got that right. Do carry a copy of your lawful status document with you. If you're not a U.S. citizen, you should always be carrying some type of proof of your legal status with you. However, remember that you do have the right to remain silent. So, let's say, for example, law enforcement asks you for your papers. You are not obligated to give them those papers, although we do ask you to carry them. You're not obligated to give them those papers or show them those papers. What you can say instead is, at this time, I am choosing my right to remain silent, and I will not talk until I speak to my attorney first. Those exact words should be uttered if you are approached by law enforcement and you are specifically asked for papers. What you can do is keep paper copies of your documents, such as the I-797 receipt, which is a notice of your pending application. You can keep that. If you have a green card or you have a lawful work permit, you should be carrying those things at all time as well. These items are also allowed by the federal government for you to take a picture and keep a digital document of those things. So if you do not have the physical cards in hand or the physical paperwork in hand, you can, in fact, keep those things digitally on your phones, or if you have a tablet or a computer, you can have access to those things there. However, as we've said in previous episodes, we'll say it again today, it's really, really important that you do not hand that information to anyone else, including law enforcement. If you do so, what you're consenting is the ability to look through your entire phone, your entire digital platform. So make sure if you are going to show it, you only show it, you're not giving it to anyone. And if you don't want to show it, then we're going ahead and following up with utilizing our right to remain silent until you speak with an attorney. So going back to if you are going to show your documentation, what you can say in this case is, I have my documentation on my phone, can I pull them up for you? And if the agent or the law enforcement officer says yes, you can pull them up, then very specifically, you must tell them, I am not consenting to you being able to look through my phone. I am only consenting for you to see the documents that I am presenting to you. I will hold my phone. Make sure you are saying that. Officers cannot search your phone unless you give consent. So make sure that you are only giving consent for them to look at the presented document while you hold the phone. All right, continuing to move on. There is no law that makes U.S. citizens carry their proof of citizenship. However, if it makes you feel safer while traveling about this community to carry your passport or your passport card with you, you certainly may do so. Just because there's no law stating that you are obligated to do so doesn't mean that you don't have to if it makes you feel safer. Again, do not ever do anything false as far as showing any falsified documentation or filling out documentation, because that is a federal crime. You can and will be charged, and you can and may be deported in those instances. Do not give any private or personal information to people in the community who say they are attorneys. There are some people directly in this community as well that have agreed to help folks and promised that they would get official documentation for you, but unfortunately, that is not the truth. The only people that really are able to help you are immigration attorneys in the United States or BIA accredited representatives themselves. They are the only ones able to fill out that immigration paperwork and submit it on your behalf. A legitimate U.S. attorney would never be able to promise you either a green card or a work permit. These are things that nobody can necessarily guarantee you. There's a process, there's a procedure, and there are ways to work through those types of policies. So no one is ever going to be able to accurately promise you either a green card or a work permit, and if they are, that person is certainly not to be trusted. All right, if someone is a lawyer or a notario in Guatemala or Mexico, it does not automatically make them an attorney in the United States. That's also something that we've talked about in previous episodes. Those individuals have access to legal documentation, legal forms, but it doesn't necessarily give them the accreditation to practice law or be an attorney in the United States, particularly in the state of South Dakota. So if you have any questions about if this person is or is not a certified attorney, I'm going to give you this number now, but then I'll also circle back and give this to you again just to give you enough time to maybe grab some pen and paper if you need to. Remember, this is a digital form, so you can always come back to the video and rewind it if you need to. But we want you to contact the South Dakota State Bar, and their phone number is 605-224-7554. Again, 224-7554. Before you give any of your personal information to anyone that you do not trust, make sure you give this phone number a call, give the State Bar a call, verify that this person is a trusted or certified individual, and then you can circle back to them if need be. Do not open your door or of your home or apartment to any law enforcement officer without a valid judicial warrant. Now, there have been some questions in the past about what a valid judicial warrant looks like. We've been able to post up what a valid judicial warrant looks like on the website of South Dakota Voices for Peace. And then on previous episodes, don't know the episode offhand, but on a previous episode, we were actually able to show you a digital copy of what that warrant looks like as well. So let's make sure that we're going back to either validate it through the previous episode, or again, you can contact us at South Dakota Voices for Peace on the website to see exactly what that form looks like. Unfortunately, we're starting to hear that federal law enforcement are doing what's called check-ins on unaccompanied minors across the country. And we have reports of that happening also right here in South Dakota. So when unaccompanied minors are released to a sponsor, that sponsor's name and address is listed. What we've heard in other states is that federal agents are doing these, again, check-ins, or what's referred to as check-ins. They're saying they're doing the check-ins to make sure that the children are safe, but then they're moving forward and arresting the sponsor. So even if you don't have anything to hide, let's say everything's fine, you have nothing to hide, these times are so critical that we still ask you to keep those doors closed, talk through the door, keep everyone inside safe, request a valid warrant, and if you're not sure if you're talking to an agent, we're going to give you some things that you can ask. So first you can ask, can you give me your business card? They should have some type of business card that they can present to you. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. If they do not, a secondary question that you may ask is, what agency are you from? You can tell them that you will not allow them inside your home. So just as we talked about with the phone, you have to make sure that you are very, very clear in what you are saying and what you are consenting to. So you can tell them that you will not allow them inside your home or apartment without a valid warrant. Law enforcement agents can try to scare you, and they can say that bad things will happen if you don't open the door. What we ask in these situations is that you try your best to remain calm, take a deep breath, and remember what we've taught you through these previous episodes. Assert your rights. The right that we gave you here earlier is very, very important in this situation to say, I am asserting my right to remain silent, and I will not speak again until I speak with my attorney. All right, so that's a lot of information that I gave you thus far. We're going to go ahead and move now into the next topic of discussion, which is power of attorneys. And again, we've talked about this in previous episodes, but it's worth repeating because we believe it's very, very important. So, how to keep your children and your financial assets safe. A power of attorney, if you don't know, you can go back in previous episodes to check what the definition of a power of attorney is as well. But it does give someone the ability or the authority to have someone else take care of your child or your financial assets in case you are either detained or deported. It also gives someone the ability to sell your house if need be. Go back again and watch episode 5 on all of our social media platforms, and it will give you all of the information you need when it comes to the definition and the usage of power of attorneys. Remember, there's absolutely no cost to get a power of attorney. What we're hearing is that there are certain people within communities that are charging $150 to print out the form, but these forms are free. they have to then go and get a stamp on these forms. So make sure we're not paying the $150 because they are available free of charge to you. It's not necessary. We have the forms not only on our social media pages, but also on South Dakota Voices for Peace website. And then here in just a little bit, I'm going to give you some information to where if you need to go in person, you can get those forms, you can get the stamp as well. Once you fill out the form, make sure you do get a stamp from a notary to make it a legal document. A notary in the United States is not an attorney, does not have to be an attorney. It can be anyone who has the official South Dakota State Seal stamp. We are working on other opportunities to make sure that we're growing the ability to get you access to more power of attorneys as well as more notaries. For more information on that, make sure you follow the South Dakota Dream Coalition Facebook page and also the YouTube page for South Dakota Dream Coalition for information. Banks have official notaries and many other organizations do as well, such as nonprofits. So with that said, here are the trusted partners that we've been able to partner with for power of attorneys that offer you access right now. In Sioux Falls, you're able to contact Caminado Juntos at 605-274-3735. You do have to make an appointment with them in order to go and get your power of attorney filled out. And then they also have folks there in office that can provide a notary stamp for you as well. All right, every Monday from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., you can go to South Dakota Voices for Peace office. They are located at 1st Congressional UCC Church, which is at 300 South Minnesota Avenue. And then you can fill out your power of attorney form there. They also have Spanish-speaking individuals that will help you be able to translate this information into your language as well. They also have folks there who will be able to provide a stamp too. You do not have to make an appointment to go to these Monday accessibilities. Again, from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. You can call South Dakota Voices for Peace if you need to make an appointment outside of that Monday, but for Monday you do not need to make an appointment. Their phone number is 605-782-9560. All right, the last one here in Sioux Falls is Naja Smith's Tax and Accounting Services, and they have POAs available. They also have Spanish-speaking staff, and they have notaries on site. You don't necessarily have to make an appointment with them, but they do ask that you call ahead of time so they are aware that you're coming. Their phone number is 605-332-5255. Those are the 3 connections that we've been able to build so far in Sioux Falls. If you have any additional resources that we have not listed, please contact us so that we can have them added to our trusted source of partners. We'll move on now to Yankton. If you live in Yankton, we ask that you contact Connecting Cultures. They ask that you contact them specifically through their Facebook page. So if you send them a Facebook message, they will then in turn reply to you, get you assisted with all of the documents that you need, and get you sent to the right place for the notary stamp. As we continue to hear more information, we will not only add them to the information that we give you on our broadcast, we will also be adding them on our websites and also our social media pages. If at any point you see where it's beneficial for us to come to you, we also will do that. Whether it's a church event, soccer practice, family event, we can come and set up a table for your community, get those papers filled out, and also have a notary in place to get that signed and delivered immediately for you. All right, that's all the information I have for you today on News for You. Again, I really, really appreciate you tuning in again. I'll reiterate again because it's really important for us not just to have you watch, but to have you share this information as early and as often as possible. Please share the information on Facebook, YouTube, and these can be found on the Hub South Dakota's Facebook and YouTube page, as well as Instagram, and also on the South Dakota Dream Coalition, South Dakota Voices for Peace, and also KPASA Sioux Falls. It's really important too that we continue this work, and in order to do so, we also need funding. And so we ask that if you have any type of donations available, or if you have any type of connections for folks in the community who's able to donate to this great cause, There are links provided on our social media page for a GoFundMe. We are doing this in hopes of raising $10,000 to continue these efforts, not just while we're having a crisis or in crisis mode, but to continue educating our community for years to come. So please, please, please share, donate, and make sure you are spreading the word about News for You. Thank you again for joining us, and we will catch you next time.